all of our guests please introduce yourselves, and I will take an opening remarks by the treasurer.
Okay. I'm Eric Sabri, Wayne County Treasurer.
Good morning, Melanie Percy, Chief Deputy Treasurer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Roy Frage, Deputy Treasurer of Forfeitures and Foreclosures.
Desiree Kirkland, Deputy Treasurer of Finance.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to also introduce other staff people who are here.
Sure.
You may be able to speak with them if you have other questions. Also, we also have Assistant Deputy Treasurer of Finance, Masir Rabeg. We have our Department Administrator of Tax Accounting, Mia Grillier, our Investment Manager, John Kravitz, and our Project Consultant, John Vieira Adams, and our Outreach Director, Beverlyn Hilton. They're all here.
Thank you.
All right.
It's all yours.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm here today on behalf of the 93 hardworking employees of the Wayne County Treasurer's Office. I would like to review some of the things that we have been doing over the past fiscal year, some of our challenges, and then I'll be available for questions from the commissioners. Good morning again to you, and thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, it's just barely good morning. Yeah. First thing I'll talk about is the topic that gets all the attention in our office is foreclosures, tax foreclosure. Again, this year we had a reduction in foreclosures. We have a handout we'll pass out to you at the end showing every municipality and how many properties were foreclosed. But we're down about 200, a little more than 200 properties, 204 from last year. So we have another reduction. There's still, though, about 600 owner-occupied properties countywide that are headed to foreclosure, and about 650 non-owner-occupied properties. And most of these properties are in Detroit. About 90% of all the foreclosure activity is in the city of Detroit. We work with the communities every year, the supervisors and mayors and the treasurers, to reduce the foreclosures. We get a list to them every February 1st, and then we go back April 1st with the list, so to try to work with the cities so they can help get the word out to reduce these foreclosures. We focused on 3 cities this year, a little extra effort, and it paid off. We worked on a lot in Inkster. We went to Westland and in Highland Park, and also Ecorse. And we were able to reduce foreclosures quite a bit in those cities. Just to give an example, in Inkster, last year we had 120 foreclosures. This year was 92. In Westland, we cut it in half from 26 to 13. And in Ecorse, it went from 82 to 46 foreclosures. So the cities where we really made the extra effort, Highland Park also went to 106 to 64. So when we went out door to door and did extra community meetings, it showed that makes a tremendous difference. Unfortunately, we had a few cities that increased in foreclosures, but they were very small. And 2 or 3, maybe 4 cities, 5 cities had an increase, and they were only up by 2 or 3 numbers. The only city that had a dramatic increase in foreclosures, and most of it was vacant land, it was in Romulus. It had an increase of 22 parcels in foreclosure. But most of it is vacant land in Romulus, not houses. So I wanted to mention that. We also want to talk about the legislation that was recently passed to allow taxpayers to keep a low-interest payment plans for those owner-occupants. It was the interest rate reduction payment plans were supposed to expire sunset June 30th of 2019. So we were able to go to the legislature and lobby with our other stakeholders and extended it. Bill 4121, House Bill 4121 was introduced by Representative Wendell Byrd, and it was unanimously passed in the House, unanimously passed in the Senate, and signed by the governor on June, I think, 26th of this year. So another 7 years, we have another 7 years to use the 6% interest payment plans. So that was a great victory. It was bipartisan support. When you have unanimous votes, that means that it's a big deal. You don't get too many unanimous votes in the state legislature, So that was good. I wanted to talk about some of our private public partnerships that we have. We have a partnership with City of Detroit, Chase Bank, the Bloomberg Foundation, and with our office in Wayne Metro Community Action Agency to implement what we call financial empowerment centers. And this will be announced in a couple of weeks. We have 2 offices that will be staffed full-time by counselors, and to help any taxpayer that comes in and needs help, we want to give them wraparound services. So they may need help with the utility bills, they may need help with mental health, may need help with getting a job, but we'll have 2 full-time counselors. This is a 2-year program, pilot program. Our offices contribute $100,000 a year. City of Detroit is contributing $100,000 a year. Chase Bank is contributing $100,000 a year to do this, and I think it's going to work very well. We have already had a couple of practice runs in the office, and some of the taxpayers are taking advantage of it. So we can help. Sometimes they have grant money that can help a taxpayer pay their utility bills, and then they have free up some money to do other things like pay their taxes. So
About paying the parking to get the assistance. I'm just,
yeah, well, that's if we could build our own building, then we can have free parking. So we can talk about that some other time. That's already on my radar. So
Commissioner Maraki.
Eric, is this only for Detroit residents?
no, anybody in Wayne County wide. It's just that they set up in our office. Yeah, So that's something we're doing. We also have one of our banks. I won't tell you who it is yet because we haven't announced it. Trying to get everything detailed. That's going to help with taxpayers. We had 372 people who owe less than $1,000 to get foreclosed. They're less than $1,000. So what we decided to do again, work with them, take them out of foreclosure. One of our banks said, "Look, we'll pay all the taxes for these individuals." This is a $300,000 commitment, but $300,000 commitment. But we wanted to do something different than what we did 2 years ago when we got help for people, where staff people, including myself, and private people gave money to help people who owe less than $1,000 get out of foreclosure. We said we need to do something a little different. We need to engage the taxpayers to make sure that they're not going to fall back in the same situation next year. So the program is like this. You have to come in to get counseling through the Wayne Metro organization. You have to open up a bank account in the bank, put at least $100 in the bank. That will help go toward next year, and then your taxes get paid this year. Now, we've been marketing this for last month, calling people, texting them, emailing them, and sending letters to them, knocking on their door also. Door to door. The City of Detroit has been helping us with the door to door with the volunteers that they have. And out of the 372 people, we only had 31 people show up for counseling to get their taxes paid. So this is our challenge. We have a big event Saturday planned at the Northwest Activity Center. So we're doing what we can. If you can figure out a way to get people out, we're going to give them free food and all this. But this is just a challenge that we have. Because I'm just mentioning this because a lot of times they say, well, you got to get the word out. You got to tell people. Got to let them know. And if people don't know, well, we're doing more than that, just letting them know. And they still aren't coming. These are all individuals who could lose their house right now. If we just say, you know what, we're just going to put them in foreclosure and let them go, they'll lose their property, and they'll say, oh, what a terrible thing the church is doing. They're going to foreclose on these poor people. They owe less than $1,000. But they're going to get the taxes paid. But all they have to do is come in, talk to us, bring $100, put it in the bank, and get ready for next year. So
on that point,
On that
Commissioner
point,
Bain.
Yes.
Mr. Sabri, you said 372 and only 31 showed up.
Yes.
Can we have volunteers from your department to go and find these people? I mean, we know where they live.
As I just said, we just had people who
But
go
they don't
knocking on
answer
their
the
door,
doors?
sending text messages, calling them, sending letters to them. And they have only 31 people came. Some of the people wouldn't come because they thought it was a scam. They didn't believe it was true. I said, well, you're going to lose your house. So you can believe that, or you can come in and get some help. But I'm just telling you what's going on. Just telling you what's happening.
Well,
I'm just letting you know. So if you
then
got some
once they lose
ideas,
their home, they'll come to the commission and start complaining.
right.
I just want you to know, because if somebody may have a better idea than what we'd have, and help us.
Commissioner Markey?
On that point, WJR did a terrible show about a month ago on this same subject. I mean, they didn't even have their facts right. It might do you guys a world of good to call over there and talk to somebody over there about what you have just said, because the stuff they were saying, it was on the Frank Beckman show, was so inaccurate and made Wayne County look very poor, like nobody was contacting people, they were just taking their property away. So that may be something that you contact them
We
for,
thought
so you
about-
can get on the radio and
We thought about that for this purpose, but we refrained from doing it because of the fact that if we do this, everybody in the world that's about to lose their property will call us. And they'll also, once they find out what the bank is that's helping us, they'll be going to the bank,
Okay.
knocking on their door, asking for money.
Okay.
So that's the reason why we
Don't respond to it.
we didn't want to do that,
Okay.
because it would cause a sort of a panic when people who come down and say, hey, if they don't come, I'll pick care of mine, I'll come in and get counseling, pay my taxes. And then other people will say, well, I'll just wait till my taxes, if I owe less than $1,000, I won't pay it. The city or county will take
Okay.
care of it for me next year.
that makes sense.
And so we just afraid
It's frustrating.
to do, it's frustrating, but to do a big public announcement, I think would harm us in the long run.
So you basically need a commitment from these 372 homeowners minus the 31 that, we want to help you, but we want you to commit to this program and come in and we want to help you. Unless you hear from them, you're not going to do it voluntarily.
Right, we have to get something from them.
Okay.
But time is getting close where they may end up getting out of foreclosure anyway, because we won't be able to put them in the auction. It's too late. So they may end up getting out of foreclosure anyway, because we're trying to work with them.
Commissioner McCormick, I hope you don't mind we ask questions.
No, I don't mind.
Okay.
This is an issue that everybody's going to be concerned about, I'm sure.
Thank you. I really appreciate the program that you put together, because there definitely is a need for that. But to that point of helping people not get into the same situation over and over again, is there a program to show them that they can apply yearly for the reduction of their taxes? Because a lot of people, I think, don't even know that. And is there a way that we can change that once you apply for the tax reduction, that you don't have to continue to apply every year? Because what happens is seniors that apply for it don't have the resources or means or family members to do that for them every year, and so they get caught up in that cycle that we don't want them to get caught up in.
Well, the city assessors have control of that process. They would have to decide that. That would be something every city or township would have to deal with that individually, because we couldn't, as a county, dictate to them how they will run the exemption program.
Right, but are they, is that part of the program, though, to show
yes,
them or
that's it.
explain to them?
That's the counseling. That's the counseling that we're talking about.
Okay.
Exemptions for low income, exemptions for military veterans.
Right.
And all of that is part of the counseling process.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. So last year, we implemented, about 10 months ago, a text message program to tell residents or taxpayers who are in payment plans that their payments were due. And we sent out over 130,000 text messages so far in the last 10 months. And it's been working very well. People get text messages from us. They come in and pay. And even though our collections are down, overall collections are down about 5%, that's only because people are paying their taxes currently more than they were in the past. So they're not paying us as much as they were because they're paying to the city or township the current taxes. So our collections are down, but we collect a lot of money in our office. We collect a lot through the kiosk. Collections in the office are down, and that's good. We planned it that way. So the kiosk collections are up. We had last year 89,000 transactions at the kiosk, and already with a couple of months left in the fiscal year, we have about 87,000 transactions. So we're going to surpass last year's numbers. Same with dollars. We had 30 million, and we're almost at 30 million now for kiosk collections. So that's going very well. We had 9 communities with 0 foreclosures. They had none at all. We had 13 communities that had 3 or less, and then 9 with between 4 and 10 foreclosures, and just 11 communities had more than 10. So tax foreclosure is really not a countywide problem.
What was the 3? I'm sorry, I just
Go
wanted
ahead.
to know the 3 that had no foreclosure.
Oh, there were 9 of them.
Oh,
9
communities.
Nine communities
that
had no foreclosures
what
at all.
communities? Do you know?
I'm going to give you a printout of the ones that had foreclosures. Then I can tell you right now that out of the Grosse Points City had 1, and nobody else had anything. So that's all the Grosse Points. Plymouth Township, Plymouth City, Northville Township, Northville City. Those are 4. So there's one more somewhere in here that had none, but those are the ones. And I don't think Canton had it. Let me see. No, Canton had 0 too. So it has something to do with income. And I believe, as I always said, this is a problem with income. If people have money, they can pay their taxes. So you look at the communities that don't have any foreclosures, and it does relate to those communities that have higher income. So also, I want to talk about the state of Michigan has a report they put out every year, and it tells you that the number of forfeiture properties and the number of foreclosed properties. So when we start off in the beginning of the year with forfeited properties, the state keeps track of what's the percentage of those that end up in foreclosure. So our numbers have been going down every year from 24% in 2015 to now, last year was 6% of the percentage. So just because we have a large number to start off with, it doesn't mean that we're going to end up with that many. That's our goal, and that's what we do in foreclosure prevention. Because just because someone is 2 years behind doesn't mean that it's a crisis. So our goal is to get it to try to prevent the first year delinquency, second year delinquency. But if we do have a large number, then we work hard to keep them from going to foreclosure. So that's probably what we do. Also, the Auditor General is in our office doing an audit throughout auction and foreclosure forfeiture process. It's going well. And if we have any particular questions about that, Roy Fridge, our deputy, will address that. The auction, I'll mention that real quick. The auction prevention programs, even though we have these 600-some properties that are owner-occupied and non-owner-occupied going into foreclosure, many of them will never make it to the auction because of the right of refusal process. The city of Detroit has a program called Make It Home program where tenants living in homes can become the owners. So the city is going to take probably 400 or 500 properties this year and work with the tenants to become owners. It's been very successful over the last 2 years. 800 people who were tenants in properties the landlord did not pay the taxes have become owners of properties. So that reduced the number of properties going into the auction. And same with the owner occupants. The city settled a lawsuit with the ACLU 2 years ago and said anyone who is eligible for an exemption because of their income could buy their property back. If they get foreclosed, they could buy it back for $1,000. So those individuals also, the city's working to take those properties, and then they'll be out of the auction as well. Even though they got foreclosed, they'll be able to stay in their home and avoid the auction.
Commissioner Anderson had a question.
Thank you. Backing up just a little bit, Eric, to the DivDat,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Machines. You said the collections have increased from the previous year?
Yes.
or at least the tardy payments on a payment plan have been reduced. I mean, they're actually getting more money in the payment plan that as it was set up. Could you give us a quick update on the machines? How many we have out there now scattered around the county?
I think there's a little more than 61 or 62.
Can we get an updated map of those?
Locations? Sure.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
We may have, and I have a little packet to give you at the end of the presentations. So I think there's a map or a list in there.
Okay.
I hope it's updated, Roy.
Yeah.
We have it.
One of the things that I think, too, is maybe some of the communities that are hosting those machines aren't taking advantage of some of the other services that could be put into that machine, paying their water bills and things like that. I think and utility bills and that. I think there's some of those features that has, and that some of the local communities could have that as a service to their residents.
And they're working. Some of the communities are working together, trying to get a package deal with the kiosk company, so you don't have to pay as much to be a part of the program.
And what does Wayne County pay?
We pay per transaction. We pay a $10,000 a month fee, I believe it is. We pay a total of it costs us about $240,000 a year to do this.
Okay.
That's what it costs us.
All right.
Because we don't charge the taxpayers anything to use the system.
Right.
And
Okay.
but it costs us about $240,000 a year
All right.
to actually run this kiosk program.
But you definitely say it pays for itself.
It does. It helps. The biggest expense is actually picking up cash, because all these other companies that we run into, we go to conventions and they contact us. We can do this, we can do that for you, but nobody wants to pick up cash, because picking up cash is expensive and a little dangerous.
Right.
So because the kiosks, the DivDad company, sometimes they have 2 kiosks or 3 kiosks in some of these locations. It's so busy, and they pick up cash sometimes twice a day.
Wow.
And so that's why our costs we try to drop the cost even more because of the volume that we're doing. But because we know we've done some research, it is very expensive to pick up money, to pick up cash, to go ahead and send trucks out to pick up cash. And that's the reason why it costs so much to do it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
On that point, Commissioner Scott and Beidou.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Treasurer, and thank you all for being here. I was talking to a constituent, and she was saying it's costly to go to the kiosk. Now, that's a charge that the store charges them with the facility?
There's no charge to use a kiosk.
There's no charge?
No. The only charge, if you use a credit card or a debit card, you have to pay a 2.49% of the transaction. That's whether you do it online, or whether you do it at the kiosk, or whether you do it at the window in our office.
Okay.
If you use a card, because Chase Bank charges us that amount, and we pass it on to the taxpayer. But there's no charge to use the kiosk.
Okay.
No.
And
Thank
if
you.
they take cash,
I take cash and checks. And checks.
but there's no charge when you
No.
use cash.
No.
So.
No charge when you use cash, and no charge for checks. So.
Commissioner Beidou.
Yeah, Mr. Treasurer,
Yes.
you said that they take checks,
Yes.
but don't they have to be certified checks or money orders?
Well, here's the situation. We don't take personal checks for the third year of delinquency. They have to be certified funds. So what happens is we only take personal checks for the first or second year of delinquency. It's because of the fact that the office used to take personal checks for everything. But when we had about $280,000 in bad checks, changed the policy, and it dropped down to about $10,000.
But can those checks be mailed in, or do they have to be brought to the kiosk or to the...
They can be mailed in.
They can be mailed in
They can be
for the
mailed in.
first 2 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Beidou.
Thank you. To that point, what you just said, like my colleague Commissioner Marecki mentioned, you're getting bad rap on the radio about the county taking homes away from homeowners. But you just mentioned you're investing $250,000 a year. I mean, you're really making it very convenient for these homeowners who have no access to computers, who cannot make payments online. And maybe perhaps we need to highlight this a little bit more, so the perception is out there that you really, the Wayne County Treasurer doesn't want to take your home. We're doing all these steps to help you, but if you don't want to help yourselves, I don't know what else you can do. Like 372 people, you reach out to them, and none of them is answering you back except 31. Now, they lose their homes, and it goes on the front page in the newspaper that the Wayne County. I don't know if you can comment on this or not, Eric, not to change the subject. I read something recently, it was in the Free Press, I believe, with the Detroit News, about a lady who's suing the county because a small amount, I don't remember the amount, that like maybe $300 or $400, and it was a big property. She lost the property because the county foreclosed on her. Do you know which case I'm talking about?
I had that as part of my next points to talk about.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since you brought that up, I'll mention it now. There's two cases right now that are important to our office. One is called a Raffaelli case. It's in the Supreme Court. It's a case where I think Oakland County foreclosed on someone owed $8, and they sold it for $30 or something, $30,000 plus. And the lawsuit is saying that the treasurers, the county, should not get the difference from what was owed to it, plus its expenses for conducting the auction. The county should refund all that excess money back to the person who lost it, because it's just, they're saying it's a taking, it's considered a taking. That's their argument. So this lawsuit that was filed in Wayne County is very similar. It's filed by the same law firm. They found someone that lost their property for $500, and we sold it for $108,000. So they're saying that is, that money, the difference should, minus what our expenses are for selling it, should be returned to the owner. So of course we object to that, and because we're the owners of the property if we foreclose. They don't have any more rights to the property. But they say it's not fair, it's unequitable. So this case could have a tremendous impact on the whole state of Michigan. Over the last 5 years, we've distributed $132 million in auction proceeds to all the taxing authorities, including the county. And so this would eliminate all of that. It would eliminate that. It would take about $500,000 from Wayne County Community College every year, about $600,000 from the library every year, about $2 million from Wayne County RESA every year. Wow. If this case if we lose this case and the law is changed, that's the impact that it will have, financial impact it will have on the county. So with that point, I would just mention that there's been some discussion about not having the auction, cancel the auction, don't do it, it's terrible. So what I did, I went to some of the stakeholders who get money every year, and I asked them, I said, the people have been writing stories about it, don't do it. And I just asked them. I asked Wayne County Community College Chancellor, I asked the library director in Detroit, I asked Wayne County RESA, and then I talked to one of the board members at the DIA. They only get about $35,000, $40,000 a year at the DIA. And I told them, this whole story, what's going on. They said, don't even think about doing that. Why would you do that? Because this money comes back to us. Wayne County Community College uses money for scholarships every year. He said, he said, you could put, I think he told me, Dr. Ivory said that there's, for about $9,000, you can get an associate's degree at Wayne County Community College. Books, fees, and tuition. So when you talk about $500,000, he says, look at all the people that we can send through school every year. So this is something that the library said, we buy computers, we upgrade our computers, do all the, buy new books. All this comes from money from the auction. So I just wanted to hear from the people. I said, maybe I'm the one that doesn't understand. I just go ask the people who are getting the money. They looked at me like I was crazy. And then the banks too, that we borrow money every year. We do our Lincoln Tax Revolving Fund notes every year, and we pledge the collection of all the monies that we can, including the auction proceeds. That's all pledged into the notes, the note pledge. So of course, I asked some of the people, the financial people. And, when I went to a conference, talked to some people from BlackRock and Northern Trust and talked to them about what we're doing. They said, human nature is like this. If someone owes you money, you want to make sure that they're taking advantage of all their streams of income so they can pay you back. So if I loan you $100,000 today and you quit your job tomorrow, I'm very nervous. So that's the way they would look at us not having an auction. They said, we'll loan you $148 million, and then you tell me you're not going to collect any money from the auction. Say, even though we don't need auction proceeds to pay you, they still make us very nervous. Not only makes us nervous, we may not want to loan the money to you, and if we do, we're going to charge you more interest. So that's the position that other people have when it comes to the auction. I'm talking the financial part of the auction, not the emotional part of the auction, just the financial part of the auction. So everybody understands.
Not healthy financially.
If we don't do it, then we got to pay. Somebody's going to have to get the money from somewhere else to make up for that. So just so you know, we're not trying to auction. But we do know that it has an impact on all of us. And I'm not ashamed to say that it's in the budget. I'm not ashamed to say that because of the fact that that's just the way it is.
Treasurer Sabri, are you happy with your budget?
Yes, I am.
The proposed budget?
Yes, I am. But I want to mention one other thing about the budget.
We're on a timeline, so what I was wondering, could you stay over a little bit and have lunch with us?
Yes, I can.
And then we can discuss it around lunchtime?
Can I get about 5 minutes?
Yes, you can.
All right.
I just want to let everybody know the clerk is on a very tight schedule.
I know the clerk is.
And we're very behind, so.
The clerk.
But yes, you may.
The clerk is
Go
my
ahead.
friend. She'll let me go 2 more minutes.
As long as he can get money to her budget.
So I wanted to say there's 2 things that I want to mention real quick. One is our the note issuance. Since 2016, we've issued $640 million in notes. $640 million. We borrowed and distributed to all the communities. Our investment earnings, and I had a little question in the budget. I know that Kevin is here, and Kevin Haney's here, but our interest earnings are going up every year, and we really work hard on it. John Kravitz, our full-time investment manager, was hired 2017, and that's making a difference. When you don't have your money in the savings accounts and checking accounts, and you have it in money markets, commercial paper, and CDs, then you can start making money. So we've gone from like 2.5 million, 2.6 million in 2016 to 9.8 million last year. And this year, at the end of the third quarter, we're already over 9.3 million in the third quarter. So you guys get these reports all the time from us.
Yes, we do. Yep.
But in the budget, it only shows like we're getting like 2 million. I don't know I don't understand that. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page.
So the general fund component, you mean? It's the $9 million spread out.
Oh, okay.
And then the general fund component in 2017 was like $1 million, and then it jumped to somewhere around $3 million. And I'm sorry, in 18 it was like in 18 it jumped to like $3 million. And then in 19, we're projecting it somewhere in the lower range, and it's just being conservative. It's just like that. We need to see the track record before we can kick that up. It's not that we don't trust you. It's just that we wanted to make sure that because of the history through the bad years, that there was hardly any interest income coming in, and now we're seeing it. We just want to make sure that we were being very conservative on our estimate for the general fund.
Okay.
That's all.
I just want to make sure everybody knows that the money's coming in, and we're working hard. We project that we'll have $13 million in interest earnings this year, and a lot of it has to do with the economy, but most of it has to do with the fact that we have someone that's been there full time investing money, and that makes a big difference. So the other thing I want to mention is that we have on our office. One big concern is security. We have a security issue in the sense that it's not a problem right now, but it could become a problem, and we're addressing it. we're going to put metal detectors in our office for various reasons. I don't have to explain to you, but we need to have metal detectors, which we don't have. And we have a lot of people who are upset with us when they come in the office. We have people come in carrying backpacks and bags and things. We don't know what's in there. We have deputies there who their lives are at risk, and so is the general public and the employees. And we collect a lot of money, too. So until we turn that money over to the company that picks it up every day, it's our responsibility to take care of it. And we collect, last year, $74 million in cash alone. And we have more money coming through our office than most banks in this city. That's a guarantee. I guarantee you that every day. So we need to be conscious of security and upgrade our security in the office. And that's one of the things that we're going to have to spend a little money on. And so I just wanted to bring that up to you. I don't think bankruptcy collections are up. We collected about $5.5 million last year from bankruptcy. People who file bankruptcy, if we don't go and stand in line as a secure creditor, we would get nothing. So we do that. We have a council that does that for us, and we're collecting about $5.5 million from that. So I wanted to, I think, conclude here. I don't have any, unless I missed something from the staff. Anybody want to add something? We can conclude just saying that, yeah, we're happy with the budget, but we want to be conscious of our security concerns, and we just want you to know why.
Okay, we have some really quick questions. Commissioner Scott Anderson and Maraki, real quick, and then Mark.
Okay.
I raised my hand 2 minutes before.
I'm sorry.
Who's up first?
We got a yield for
Commissioner
Commissioner
Haddis,
Haydus.
yield
No, we
to
don't.
Commis-
I'm next.
Aw, okay, Commissioner Scott.
I'm sorry.
He
Seniority,
can wait. If it's seniority, no matter how it is, I'm next.
you.
Because I got the most seniority in it. Okay. But anyway. Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. You know, there's some things that happen just within our cities. I bought a piece of property, just a vacant lot, and my treasurer did not send me the bill. And when I saw her, I said, you know, I didn't get it. She said, you haven't had it long enough to get a tax bill yet. But then I get a bill from the treasurer's office for $41, or it's going to be foreclosed on. I just sent it in to you this week, you know. And so, and I know if it's happening to me, it's happening to some of the other people.
I'm sure it is. It happens all the time. Because if the cities don't send the bill out,
Yeah.
but what they do, they tax it, and when it doesn't get paid, they send it to us.
Right, and that's what happened to me. You know, I went up and gave them a piece of mine, but, you know, it's after the fact.
Not only that, but by the time you call us, we've had it added another $300 to that $41. Then you're really mad. Because it's coming over late, and we add the interest and penalties when it goes from the first year to the second year of delinquency.
So I can expect to see something else in the mail?
If you're addressing it right now, but I'm saying if you didn't know, you got sent over to us, say March of 2019. By March of 2020, if you haven't done anything, that bill would be something like $370.
Oh, okay, yeah, I paid it, and, you know, and mailed it in to you because you got to pay for parking to go down there to see you know, and that was $41 or something, you know, so.
And you paid how much to park? $10?
Yeah, well, I didn't take, I put it in the mail.
Okay.
Hopefully you got it by now.
Okay.
It was this week. But anyway, is there anything that we can do for those, the group that you had and only a few people responded to it?
We're going to have
My
a Saturday
district.
rally, big rally Saturday at Northwest Activity Center, and hopefully that we'll get, you know, I'm hoping for 100 people. That's what I'm hoping for, at least.
Okay.
But we need to, you know, some of the things that happen too, we went to some of these houses, and when they walked on the door, they said, this house is vacant now. People are gone. See, a lot of people, they think they're going to lose their property, leave, and they give up. So some of the people may have just gone, and we can't find them. So now that's another issue. We have a vacant property that was occupied. They only owed $800 in back taxes to save their property, and now they leave, and we can't reach them. So that's just letting you in inside of what's going on in the office. Sometimes we
Wow.
Let Hattis go.
Okay. All right, so thank you so much for what you're doing. But if there's anything that we can do for some in our district, because they will call us and say, well, you know, I tried and I couldn't reach them and stuff. But if it could come to us and then I can try and reach them.
Okay, we'll find anyone in your district.
Because he was just saying that some of them
districts.
think it might be a scab or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
If it's
'cause we can't
budget
afford to lose these homes.
If
All
it's
right, thank you.
budget related to this budget, please ask your question. If not, then we'll do it over lunch, okay?
Okay.
Commissioner Hattis?
Thank you. Mr. Sabri, I just got concerned about the case in the court where you sold the property for $100-some thousand and cost us a few $100s to acquire that. And I'm afraid the precedent been set on the municipality side, because when we acquire property from you and it costs us $1,000 and we sell it for $100,000, we're not allowed to keep the 99. We have to turn it back to you. And now, on the other hand, if the county make money, they have the right to keep the money. Is that going to affect the case in the court?
It may use that as part of their argument.
Yes, because you know there's some precedent that set is, you know, we allowed to
Not to
deduct
this
the
budget.
administration cost
Right.
only, and I hope the county would be prepared to fight that, or we need to adjust the way our system works to make sure we have more protection instead of losing all that money, because you're talking in the millions.
A lot of money. We have a Michigan Association of County Treasurers meeting coming up next week in Frankenmuth, and that's the number one topic of the discussion, those lawsuits.
We can talk about that during lunch because it's a policy. To the budget, Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you. Eric, where in this budget is the advertising, commercials and things like that? Is that under services and contractual services?
Yes, it is.
Okay, do we have a breakout of that where we could get, and I'll tell you straight up, I'm getting complaints from people or inquiries about the advertising and how much money is being spent on advertising, not just in your office, but at others, and that people are wondering who's paying for that. These are not, these are expenditures, correct? They're not.
No public service announcements. Right. The only public service announcements we have are the ones you see on the TV, the TV channels for each of the municipalities that they have, where they run the public service announcements. Those are free. But when you see it on cable TV or any other channel, 2, 4, 7, anything like that, those are being paid for. Okay. It's in forfeiture foreclosure money in the budget.
Is it a breakout?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's, I have to say, like I said, I just wanted to bring it to your attention that, and I just saw, I started queuing in on some of them that I've been seeing too, and just the other day, I think it's the Jazz Festival, the executive is running a commercial about that. Now, I don't know if Parks Commission, if it's coming out of his budget, where it's coming from. And, but people are getting tuned into that. And it's something that I think we need to be cognizant of.
If I may, Commissioner, to address the parks, yes, that's coming out of the parks budget. In response to your question about the advertising, the treasurer responded that on page 6 of his responses. And I think most of it, if not all of it, is coming out of the DTRF program.
Commissioner Marecki.
Just real quick, do you have enough money in this budget to make these security changes for this year?
Yes, we do.
You do? Okay, great, thank you.
Do you have a budget for that?
Yeah, yes, we do.
How much?
It's in the forfeiture foreclosure fund. How much is it?
No, how much
for
is the
the-
cost for the security?
Security.
I thought,
We don't have it.
I thought we put it in there for you. It's part of your operating budget somewhere.
When you find out, if you
So
could
Kevin,
email
Find
that
out.
to us.
You're saying it's already in this budget?
Thought it was, but we'll double check.
Because I'm in support of that, making sure.
We'll make sure it's,
Yeah.
okay.
It's not
Just
something
give us-
that,
Send us the information when you're
not
ready.
something the CEO would probably say no to. So.
Yeah, we can see why. Alrighty, well, stick around if you would for
Okay.
lunch, and we'll have a nice conversation with you. And thank you for all the good work, and thank you for the timely reports that you send to our committee. Mark is going
And thank
to
you for
finish.
and I just want to thank your staff for the work that they did
Yes.
to assist us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Very much.
Very good
I have a packet for
The
everyone.
community person does a fantastic job.
Yeah, Beverly's
Does.
great.
She's
Those-
everywhere.
Those packets that she put those together. These are the things that we hand out. There's a report in there that's not part of what we hand out. That's just for you guys. It's a update on all of the things we've been doing. But that's typically we give this out in the community meetings, some of the block clubs and community groups when we go out, so they have information they can pass on to the to people that need help.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
We're going to hear from our Wayne County clerk, and then we will have lunch and more discussion on the treasurer, with the treasurer. He's going to stay for lunch with us, so if anybody else has any questions, we can ask them at that time.
We're doing the clerk now? or-
We are doing the clerk before we have lunch.
She actually has to leave at 1:30.
She has to leave at 1:30, her schedule, and we're way behind, so if we could keep our questions to the budget, that would be really good, because we are running very late. Good afternoon. Thank you for
afternoon.
waiting so patiently.
I try on Thursdays. Thank you. Okay.
The floor is yours, madam.
Okay, well, I'll start with introducing myself. I'm Kathy M. Garrett, the Wayne County Clerk.
Ron Fields, Wayne County Clerk, Budget.
Turn your microphone on, please.
You forgot,
I know, I forgot.
how we-
Yes, I did. Forgot. I looked, I thought it was Dwayne Sills, Deputy Clerk, Chief Financial Officer.
Good to see all of you here today.
Yes, time flies. It doesn't seem as if it's been a year, but thank you for the opportunity and hopefully for your consideration. There are 3 areas within the clerk's office that I have a great concern of, and it kind of reminds me of when they merged Recorder's Court with the clerk's office, and the duties and responsibilities came. However, there was no consideration given to adding additional staffing, etc. Well, in light of what has happened with elections and PA 611 and all of the different changes, it is causing a great hardship on the 3 individuals that we have in the elections division that are responsible for a number of things. And now with PA 611, just for instance, behind every election, now we're responsible for doing audits. And everything, as you know, previous clerk, everything is time sensitive. So you look at from prepping for the election, the execution of the election, afterwards is the canvassing of the election, which is a 14-day window. But at the other end of that, now they've thrown these audits in, let alone if individuals request recounts. And so what essentially is happening is the fact that you have 3 individuals, really 2, that are responsible for all of that, and we cannot do, say you can't do concurrent recounts. You can't have like this staff person take another staff person to go and maybe you handle the audits, we'll handle the recounts, you be at the canvas. It's not impossible because we get it done, but I know that it's already been quite taxing. And now with these additional duties, I don't want them to flee on me and not be a part of the clerk's office. So that's a great concern. I did request for 2 additional positions because, again, in that same division, for over 3,000 committees, we have 2 individuals that deal with that, and you all know the cycle of reports with being elected, let alone those individuals that are not or are attempting to get elected, and it's 2 people that do that. So my request is primarily for not to just get anyone, but we need some individuals, additional individuals that are versed in elections, and there are some previous clerks out there that I think would come aboard. So that's a great concern. The other is I firmly believe that your work environment affects your psyche. And your psyche affects your productivity. And I've shared with you as well as the CEO over at the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center. I don't have the square footage committed to memory today, but I've invited individuals over to come and look. That's our vital statistics division. Every day, there's no less than a couple of hundred people back there, whether they're being serviced, whether they're with the individual, or maybe they've come to the wrong place. The space is too small. It's too small. So we've requested in here, as you all know, over at 400 Monroe for the Detroit division of birth and death records. I'm thinking I really would love to be able to mirror something like that. And if you haven't been over to look at it, it's just the employees over there seem pretty cool and good with their work environment, but understandably so at KMAC, it's frustrating to me. It's unfair to the taxpayer and it's absolutely unfair to the staff.
Would you accept more space on another floor within the Coleman A. Young building?
Well, maybe this body would have greater opportunity with that, but the end is so loud over there, it's no more room.
Kevin, there's no more room?
There's no room in the inn. KMAC is pretty much full. I don't know if there's any spaces over there, because right above her starts the courts. We're on the clerk's on the court side, the county side, if you will.
Well, forget that. Somebody offered that to me to give to you.
Did they?
Yeah.
Well, we can
But
talk.
it's gone. Yeah, we can talk.
Yeah, but trust me, I've been bugging the building authority
Okay.
about it, so. And then the only other request, and then of course, as I tell you every time, this is the nooks and crannies guy right here, and now Dwayne as well. But these are my issues that I'm concerned about. And the other request for additional revenue is in reference to the campaign finance system, because they've changed what the cost is. And so, of course, that's a excess of what we were asking for.
And all of these asks are worth in dollars?
Yes.
How much?
Here's my paper.
$644. $896,644.
I'm sure Kevin has taken notes.
896,000.
Yeah.
Not $896.
I know.
No.
Yeah, I could pay that if that was the case.
2 people aren't in there?
And we could give it to you by activity, like elections, we need $210,423. Campaign finance, we need $13,183. And vital records, which includes two additional clerical specialists and the move to 400 Monroe, that total cost for the vital records is $673,038. So the 3 different requests combined is $896,644. That will fund all 4 positions. It will take care of our campaign finance.
And it's the estimate based on what it was when we moved Detroit Vitals over there.
Yes.
Does that include if you need to relocate, that's that?
That's what, that's what it's estimated based on the cost when we put over on the 6th floor over there. So Ron is estimating the cost of that because basically the attempt is to mirror that same operation. So for the build out and all of that, what's that been, 2-3 years?
Probably 4.
Okay, it runs together
Yeah.
now, but, so that's why I keep putting emphasis on this estimate because.
So that's the estimated cost for the space over at Monroe, or, okay, it is
Right.
Monroe, not in the K-Max?
No.
Okay, great.
Commissioner Baidoon and Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have visited your offices there whenever I'm conducting some business like notary and other certificates. Yes, it's really overcrowded, and you mentioned earlier you don't know, but I'm going to ask you, how many square feet do you think your department needs to work efficiently without having 200 people waiting in outside? I see them sometimes. They're in the hallway. There's no place to sit. People just standing there. Do you have any idea, like, how many square feet do you need, or what do you have right now?
I can get back to you with the exact square feet that we have at 400 Monroe currently, but I don't have the numbers with me right now.
Okay.
I know that rent we're paying is $161,928 annually. And I think it's like $18 a square foot there.
161.
I would have to get back with you on the square feet. 161,928. Now I have to add that.
And how much are you paying?
This was based on our current costs. Now, when we got our the CEO recommended budget, I noticed they had increased our rent over there significantly, and Kevin covered that in our budget, our recommended budget.
It's about 9,100 square feet.
Yes.
Square footage over there is starting October 1 will be 2,150 a square foot.
That's about 9,100 square feet.
At 400 Monroe. For all tenants at 400 Monroe.
Yeah.
Currently, I think it's around 16 and change. So maybe even 15 and change.
Commissioner.
Well, we need to find them some space.
Here it's not that much.
No.
Commissioner Scott.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. Have you thought about coming over here, Madam Clerk?
With all of the activity that we have, I think it might just be my opinion. I don't think we would be welcome tenants. It's a lot of activity and the volume of people.
I don't think we have the room.
And no parking.
No parking, no.
Here.
Oh, that's right, you would have no parking here.
Well, the parking, I mean, there's no parking essentially over there, so.
Okay, so
Maybe another satellite office.
so where else would you consider?
The ultimate would have been for me, we wouldn't have been at 400 Monroe because again, and I think the treasurer referenced it, to me it's very disheartening that the employees that make what they make and the lease amount is $60 per month that they pay for parking already. So I sought out other places that would have accommodated that as far as no parking cost for the employees or for the taxpayer. However, we were sent to 400 Monroe. So at this point, even if there's additional space at 400 Monroe, it's fine because the mindset is already there that you have to pay to come to the county clerk's office.
So when did you know they were going up on your lease fees?
I found out when. Well, I'm sorry, Kevin. Go ahead.
I found out about it in while we were building the budget. It came up during the building of the budget. I don't even know if the contract has come through the commission yet. I think it might have. I don't know that for a fact, but I do know that it's in TCM. It's still in TCM, so it will be
You
coming to
haven't
the
been over
commission.
there that long.
Over at 400? We've been over there, Ron says it's been about 5 years, so.
I think
Been
4 or
that long?
5, but I
Oh
think
my
it's 4, at least 4.
Time moves
but
on.
Time
Right.
flies.
But the
So-
clerk, I'm sorry, along with the clerk, there's also the treasurer, there's also DPS.
The register.
The register of deeds is over there as well, and the rent cost for them is going up as well.
Wow.
With understanding that we can never separate from the court either. So if we did move, it would be strictly the vitals division. And then I did look in my phone because I've been asking this, and for Suite 201, where the vitals is over there, is 2,646 square footage. That's everywhere, as far as where the staff works and where the the customers come in. And then in our other area, which is for gun permits, that is 1,085 square footage. So it's too small.
Wow.
Thank you, Commissioner
So,
Anderson. Oh, I'm
just that-
sorry.
Is any of that you just requested, is that have been in the budget that Kevin has in the budget for you?
No, it's not.
This is outside of what's in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
One of the reasons why it was excluded is this would be a net increase. The county is still required to pony up 34% of the cost of KMAC, whether there's the clerks there or not.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you.
To that point, Kevin, if we're expected to pay, did you say 34%?
Over at KMAC, yeah.
Yeah, KMAC. Do we have 34% of the space?
That's, I believe that's how it was allocated out at one point in time. We haven't increased or decreased the footprint over in KMAC in quite a while, so yeah.
Yeah, because I'm wondering if we're still getting our allocation, or they're slowly whittling away and city getting it, or some other entity in
It's
court.
the
or whatever.
building. The building, and you've probably been over there. You've got the east wing and the west wing, and the west wing is the courts plus the sheriff plus the clerks area, and the east wing, pretty much where you go into the security where the escalator is on that side. That's all City of Detroit. So.
Right. So this was not submitted to the executive, or it was, and it was.
It was.
Okay. And let's see, have you considered increasing fees? Any of the fees, I know, within your department?
We have increased fees, and it came before this body, so that's been done.
How recent?
What has that been?
About 3 years.
I was
About 3
on
years.
board with that one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Some of your fees are statutory.
Yeah, some of them are, you can't.
yeah.
Can't change them?
And we have raised our revenues because of the fee increases, and they've been built into the budget recommendation already. So,
And is there any effort, Kevin, for someone to negotiate with the owners of 400 Monroe to get the cost down?
No, actually, that was just a recent renegotiation of 400 Monroe.
Unless we don't approve the contract.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It's like they-
All right, that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Yeah, they got you now, so.
Commissioner Marecki?
So when the new jail is built, is some of that occupants from the county going to move over to the jail?
No,
And that's-
the register of deeds is over there, the
You said the
treasurer's over there.
sheriff, though.
Oh, over here, no, the sheriff that's over in KMAC is going to stay there because
There.
they're providing security for the
Oh, that's
courts.
for the security. Okay.
So-
How about the satellites? Are they being used pretty much? And are the hours the same at both satellites?
Okay, there's one satellite
that's
now.
what I
Yeah,
thought, the Northville
it
closed.
was very strange, and I'll just leave it at that all of a sudden for Northville, they needed to use their space after the number of years that we had been there. So, but Westland absolutely is.
Is it 40 hour? It's open all week?
Yes, and even with that, and I heard when the sheriff was here, I think someone spoke to the Westland office. So if you take a trip out there, and, well, Dwayne recently went, and again, it's not fair to the employees, it's not fair to the taxpayer, because they literally, we went there maybe in a cracker sleeve, And because of relationships with the sheriff, we were able to expand to a cracker box now, but it's very tight spaces out there.
Because I thought I heard that Northville was closing. Was that used, was the Northville, was it very active there?
Because of the shortage in staffing, I had to make the decision that we were there one day a
Right.
week, so
All
it
right.
served its purpose.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. We will take note.
Okay. Do I need to go to prayer or what?
You prayer,
always.
Oh, I stay in prayer for other things.
Prayer always works,
Thank you.
sooner or later.
Oh, boy.
Alrighty, one more, I'm sorry. We
Just
have,
one more. Again, the clerk's
Mark
office.
is going to finish off.
Clerk Garrett, your staff was actually the first one to respond to any of our inquiries regarding budgetary matters, so I want to thank you for that, Ronnie and your staff. Thank you very much for being as responsive as you have been.
Thank you.
Are you saying that we trained Wayne very well?
Dwayne just got there.
No, I'm saying that,
We have
I'm
to
saying
pick on
that Clerk Garrett is
And
really.
that's another thing. When did you go over to the clerk's office?
Thank you.
I thought he was still over registered lead.
I started with Ms. Garrett last week. So the whole
last
process
week.
of
Okay.
fingerprinting, but it was last week.
Because as you know, John Uday, Mr. Uday retired in January, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so he still comes maybe one day a week, and that's been since January, that all of it has been on Ron and the other staff of the finance division, but I'll just say the register's loss is our gain, so.
Why not? It was our loss, but
I know.
Well, thank
Look.
you.
you just keep moving.
Still in the county.
That's right.
All right.
Well, anyway,
Thank you very
all
much.
for being
Thank
here.
you. Thank you.
Okay, the way we are going to proceed, because we are running very late, is we are going to go get our lunches in the hallway, and then while we're eating lunch, we're going to hear from the probate court, and then after that, if the treasurer is still here, then you can ask your questions if he's still around. But we need, he doesn't have to, just if he wants to eat lunch with us. Yeah.
I know.
But probate